Welcoming you all in yet another edition of 3D Graphy News, a platform and information source for 3D technology, specifically in terms of 3D printing, 3D scanning, 3D imaging, 3D visualization, simulation, and also material science. Very, very important that we need to be updated of each of these aspects. So as a workflow, this information source will definitely help both the 3D technology companies to know what is the end user's expectations, and also for the end users to know that how this technology can benefit in each of these areas of specialization, may it be aerospace, defense, automobile, engineering, dental, maxillofacial, orthopedics. So the list is big. So here is a platform which will actually be sourcefully informing the respondents in terms of wanting to pick and choose what they would want or what they would need in the process. And today there's an opportunity that we have to interview with Dr. John Nesan, who is a maxillofacial surgeon, who's been in this space offering solutions and services in 3D printing in medical and dental, head and neck specifically, and also his expertise in terms of understanding the body anatomy of head and neck. It's been a great working for CTARS to have started this company and offering services for the last 1 decade. So may I now quickly go to Dr. John. Doctor, very good morning to you, and it's always a pleasure to connect with you for also to know the good work that you've been doing, some cases that you have been able to share in our earlier 3D Graphy events in terms of for respondents to know and learn. Doctor, may I ask you, how did it all start? How did 3D printing start in your space in terms of the services and the offerings that you wanted to start with?
Good morning, Shibu. It's a pleasure coming on your platform, and congratulations on the new 3D Graphy news. Let's jump straight into the question. For me, the passion towards technology actually started when I started my post-graduation in 2005. So that time my topic for my PG was application of rapid prototyping. So we didn't start with 3D printing, we actually started with rapid prototyping. And I had to learn the entire theory behind it. We had to go to other university places like Camsus Technology, and in Chennai there's the MTAB. So all these companies that we had to go in and sit with them, see how they use the technology, because it was part of my postgraduate studies. So we knew the technology, didn't know more of the application then in 2005, 6, and 7. So, but when we finished it, when I started working with Dr. Gurusilan, I saw how we could use this technology to an extent. So we were using it from 2006. Actually, how we use 3D printing, how we use the models and that. And then it later on, more clarity on this actually came in 2014 when we heard about the first zygomatic implant being manufactured by Netherlands. So then I immediately said this is something that we had to hook on to, something that part of it, and I knew this was the future. I somehow had a very gut feeling that this is going to change medicine in 2005 itself. So who stood on with it. It's been a very long journey, but we are seeing the fruits of what we did in 2005, 6, and 7 now. 15 years now, we're seeing the technology and how it's being benefited now. And today I'm seeing more and more applications. When we started the company, actually, CTARS in 2014, there was nobody else doing what we're doing. There was only people doing models. There was just most of the engineers were way ahead of us. They had done a lot of modelings there, but then nothing other than that. We have not gone into guides, not gone into orthognathics, not gone into PSIs. Something only the West had done it. So we entered that space much, much earlier, and we're proud to say that we're one of the very few companies in India who's doing consistently patient-specific implants, and here we are. So this has been my journey, Shibu.
Doctor, now I also understand now the process very clearly defined is also in the design to understand the anatomy. Explain how does it all work, the process in terms of for a doctor if he comes with a case, how does it all work? If you can
okay, now See, when the doctor gets a CT scan, what is most important is let's also be very clear. 3D designing and or patient specific implant is not an answer to every situation. Okay, now as a surgeon, and this is a surgeon's tool. It is still a tool. It is not come to a stage where it's going to replace the role of a surgeon or replace his thinking capacity. It is still a tool, and I think it will remain a tool for years to come. Even though we are going to have artificial intelligence coming and VR coming inside, I still see this being as a tool, an improved tool, a very sophisticated tool. So when it comes to a surgeon, first thing is once he has to decide based on the input that he's got or based on his experience as to what is the need there for that surgical for that patient over there. Sometimes it can be just be use of off the shelf plates and screws and get the job done. Sometimes you may not have those solutions and you want to customize. Only when you come across that situation, then you need to think of patient specific implants and 3D design. Otherwise, using for conventional methodology, conventional surgeries, like in trauma, where you can go ahead and straight away get your work done. Rather than using a conventional plate, if you use a customized plate, you could and actually end up jeopardizing the surgery as such. So there's a very clear objective that you need to do. A doctor needs to know that. A surgeon needs to know that, or he needs to go to companies which have that kind of an experience. Because most engineering companies are the technology is available. No, you understand? They will do it whatever the doctor wants. Sometimes the doctors are so dependent on the engineers that what the engineers design, they will take it and then end up making a mess of the whole surgery. We have seen it. In fact, we ourselves have done these kinds of mistakes in the earlier years because we don't have a reference of who do we look at and grow. So by failures, by experience, by feedback that we got from doctors, from surgeons, and I also am an operating surgeon. I mean, I didn't start operating for the first few years of the company Shibu. Only after COVID I started operating, and then I realized there are so many gross mistakes that we were making. And if we were making, obviously, I mean, I cannot fathom the kind of errors that are coming in from the other side, but then that's okay. So we are rectifying it, trying to make it more doctor friendly. The ultimate use of this technology, it has to be friendly for the doctor. If he's going to take the same amount of time, the same amount of effort, then there is no point in you using this technology. It has to be beneficial for him with respect to time, cost, effort. Then it's a boom. Otherwise, it's a waste of time.
Doctor, now that it's been almost a decade that you have been working on this particular cases, what would have what is the complex of the complex case that would have come to you, and it could have been a difficult task for you to reach and get this, and only because of 3D technology you were to actually you were to give the solution.
Lots, Shibu. There are I can not couple of Shibu. I think we have close to about 30 to 40 cases of complex cases where there is no other way this could have been done other than using 3D technology. I can, for example, the first thing that comes to my mind, I mean, is a young 10-year-old kid which came in from the government dental college, and thanks to Dr. Arun, Dr. Balaji, and Dr. Prasad for giving us an opportunity to help the kid. I mean, the surgery was done by them and the plastic team from the Children's Hospital. I mean, that's a fantastic team of surgeons. But there, the main the main structure actually is provided by 3D technology. If not, I will tell it boldly over here. If not for 3D technology, there is no frame for the patient's face to stand. So 3D technology provided the answer. Today, the child is alive. He's running. He's playing. He's adapting. You understand? So that's something which I clearly see as a solution which only 3D could offer. If not, it would have been a disaster. There would be many complications. I mean, you could handle it. You can handle it. Not that you can't handle it, but it would take more lot of time. So a lot of credit goes to the surgical team and 3D technology which provided the tool. I mean, you can have the best of tools also, Shibu, but then the surgeon should know how to use it. You understand? It's like giving sometimes. you have, it's like Mercedes Benz that is given to you, and instead of a good driver using it, if a monkey is driving the Mercedes Benz car, then you know how it is. So, so you have a wonderful tool, but then yes, the surgeon needs to know how to use the implant. Otherwise,
So,
because the implant is not malleable, it's not adaptable, it will not. It goes as per the plan.
so the design thinking is very, very important, doctor, as you rightly said.
Hundred
You need to
percent.
creatively think in terms of what would be the right solution. Then to also look at solutions in terms of materials. What materials will be suitable? Because not probably maybe for maybe an example would be a orbital floor. Maybe PEEK could be a better option in cases,
Yeah.
or maybe titanium, depending on the choice of the materials that you also want to make a
Should
decision on.
good, good, Shibu, because see, material choices is an area which is developing. It is consistently developing, and thanks to our engineering friends and friends from the engineering and material science background, they are bringing in a lot of effort into seeing that we have the best of materials. I mean, right now, titanium is the standard choice for reconstruction. You also have titanium has its own pluses and minuses. Peak is also available right now. We are also doing Peak now in stars. It also has its pluses and minuses. Now, as newer materials are being formed, I mean, yes, we need to test, evaluate, see what is the best, and then use it in combination or straight. So, material sciences is something which is evolving. It will continue to evolve, and I think the ultimate goal would be is that we have our own body. I mean, bioprinting common play where we have our own cells being made. Yes, you can't play God, but then to an extent, I think we can, with the knowledge that God gives us, we can to an extent try to replace whatever is lost. So
So,
that's
doctor,
where
one
we are.
more thing, as you rightly when we are stressing upon the materials. So, are these materials certified, and is the process certified, doctor? And I'm sure you would have
Hmm,
done that.
hmm.
So, if you can just broadly explain, how it
See,
is.
we stars at stars we are an ISO 13485 certified company, which means that the process is certified. Now, as far as the materials go, titanium, whatever we get, is an FDA approved material. Most of the time, the material that we choose for healthcare or for medical 3D printing is an approved material. There can be a few instances where some people have mixed it and buy it from other local vendors, but I know a lot of companies buy it from authorized FDA sources only. So that's very critical. Number two would be the other newer materials, because the newer materials also need certification. But it depends on from where you buy. So we use titanium a lot. We use ultra molecular weight polyethylene a lot. I mean, they come from a certified source in the UK. Peak right now we are outsourcing it. We are getting it sourced from another company from UK and from Singapore. So we are looking at that also. Those are certified. I mean, if it's in India also you have these materials available, Shibu, but they are not certified material. They are certified by a local authority. So it is good for models and demo, but strictly not advisable for usage into the body. The CDSO is also coming on very strong. So I think these certifications, these rules, though now is not being stressed upon in India, I think we are going to get on in the days within the next few months where they're going to be extremely strict with the new rules, because newer companies are coming up, and so they're going to be very strict. And I think we all need to follow. That's all. There's no two ways to it.
Also, doctor, because I know for the fact that you have been very, very conscious in terms of seeing that the quality of these products and implants are being well accredited and being taken into consideration. Also, with your role working with the government for representing in that particular channel, and also being one of the 1345 sorry 13485 process oriented in terms of as an accreditation. So till date, doctor, you've been actually using these services from centers from which
Correct.
probably you would have identified who was well accorded with that process. But now,
Correct.
also congratulations. Now that we are also looking forward to seeing an opportunity for C-Star additives coming into the
Correct.
space, to also have your in-house metal setup and services, so that terms of offering. What is the reason for this upgrade. And I'm sure because when you have anything in house, it becomes even more convenient for you to
Correct,
offer services
correct.
in terms of cost. But yeah, I will like you to share your experience on that and your
Uh,
process in terms of
we
the pathway going forward.
we worked with quite a few amazing teams who used to manufacture for us. Shibu. Very wonderful teams. Dr. Shiva from Confident, I can name them all. From Premium used to help us a little bit, and I think even really incredible used to work in us. Lovely teams and Kalyan Additive. So there have been over the years because see we the all said and done, investing into a metal machine is also it's a very heavy investment. You understand? And number two would be is today yes money is available, but then do you have that kind of a volume for you to actually use it? So for us, pre-COVID, we didn't have that numbers. We were doing very small numbers in a month, about 15 or 15 implants a month. Okay. So, but by God's grace and thanks to COVID, actually our numbers gradually increased. Today we do close to about 35 to 40 PSIs a month. So which means that that's a decent number to be done by a single party in India. So when it comes to that kind of a number, obviously you need to look at logistics, you need to look at how does it go, does it come back on time. So we thought now that we've come to this stage and we are looking at doubling this number within the next 6 months. Uh, so I think it's high time that we have our own machine where we control the process. I mean, the people who supported us are still supporting us. They are just awesome. We like working with them. But we will still, I think we still will work with them also. But then I think to cut down on time, because time becomes very, very critical now for us. So turnaround time is very important and the costings. So we know we do realize that when you have your own printer, the costing is it comes down to just a third of whatever you're paying outside. So, but then you need to take the cost into consideration of the machine investment, the space, the team members. So we thought we'll save on time, money, and therefore we could also give the doctors that benefit. See, where it comes is most of the time, yes, 30% of my doctors don't bargain with me for respect to cost. Whatever we give them, they are happy with it. They're happy with the product. But there's still a considerable amount of percentage of doctors, surgeons who still want a cost reduction because it is in a way beneficial for the patient. It's not that they take it themselves. They want to get the work done, but there is an issue with costing. And how do we control costing is by us having our own machinery and us doing the volumes that we have. So that was it's a very long term decision. We still didn't want to do it because it meant a lot of work. But then I guess with teams joining along, with good investors coming on board, we said okay, it's high time that we start doing it. So now we'll be having one, no, I think not one, two machines will be there. We'll be having quite a few set of things that are planned. I think when it's there within the next 30 days. So once it's there, Shibu, then I'll probably invite you. Then we can tell you what we have. No, I don't want to put the cat out of the pigeon out of the bag right now.
Also, Doctor, because democratization is also very, very important for 3D technology. And when you have a setup of your own, you can make your choices in terms of how we need to give those options and solutions to the end user. At the end of the day, we need to also see that how it can be benefiting mankind. I know of cases that you have also, given it with sheer amount of responsibility as in a social cost, not even charging. So how does that work, doctor, in terms of balancing
We
it when it comes to your
no, we do,
profession
Shibu.
and your services?
See, for me, till now, it's been a passion that we work in. It's never been a business to me. See, stars when we started, me and Hannah when we started it, we started with the pure concept of it, out of passion, out of the very joy of working with it. And then when we had our first team of members coming and say, then we slowly tried on this equation of business, but it didn't work. So as passion only it runs. So for me, the surgeon comes out most of the time. So when we tell a doctor, so when a surgeon comes to me and say, John, this is what the patient can afford. So I say, okay, if it's a good case and if the patient genuinely is there, we either reduce the cost or we even waive off. In a month, I know I think about 15% to 18% of the cases that we do, we don't charge. we give it off, not the charity, but because we do realize that they need the technology more, and we truly today are in a position that we can afford to give it to them. So I like to thank God for that. Like we can afford to give them, because there was a stage where we had our ups and downs where we had to beg, we had to borrow, we had to literally steal for us to survive. But today we are in a position where we can afford. So and most of the doctors would come in. Sometimes we also work on an equation where for the number of cases we get a certain number, we can give it off as waive off or give it to them for free. So some doctors use that facility also because it compensates for them. See, ultimately we are not a B2C company, Shibu. I don't think we are looking at that at all. We are purely that's why you will never find any of our advertisements coming in. We are purely a B2B doctor. So we want the doctor to start working. We want the doctor to get promoted for him to use the technology more, and us at the background support him with whatever we can. So cost still is a very critical factor. But so if we have everything in house, then we control the cost. And I think I still want to do from 18% that we give out for free, we want to do 25%. But then, which means the remaining 75% we still make money, in a sense. So that's part of what we are, and we would like to do that. Make a
Yeah.
conscious
So
effort.
yeah. So I think you have a very balanced approach, doctor. Very good. I mean, and now that with your center starting, what is the plan in terms of how many centers are you looking at in the country going forward,
Okay.
doctor?
We would be. I think we are doing it in phases. Phase one we are pretty strong in the south. So most of our work comes in from Chennai, Kerala, Hyderabad, Telangana, Maharashtra, West Bengal, Delhi. So we are very strong in these states. So we realized, and now slowly Amritsar Punjab is also coming on board. So we now are looking at stabilizing offices in at least 6 states by the end of the year, and by the mid of next year, every state will have a center for stars. So that's the plan. Because it's an effort that we want to provide more service. It's not for us as just for expansion. We do realize if when we grow that the local trend is factor is very influential also. So doctors can correspond easily because we don't want them wasting time for printing models and guides and stuff like that. So and we will set it up. So we have investments coming inside, and that's our roadmap for the next 1 to 2 years.
Also, doctor, this will also mean that we are creating more jobs. Because that's also a key
Yeah,
for the country, where with the government's initiative
to
also to ensure
Shibu,
that how we can.
every
So,
center that we have, see, even in right now, we started when I worked with my first set of team. I mean, I loved my first set of batch guys that worked along with. They're very special. So we were only just 3 people when we started. Now today we have a team of about 20 people in Chennai, and a team of 2 to 3 people that are coming in from Hyderabad. So every center that we have will have close to 10 people working, and Chennai and Hyderabad will be the main centers where we are looking at least having in the next 50 people working there. So you're giving them jobs, giving doctors jobs, giving engineers jobs. Surgeons get a chance to work. So we're creating our own network of surgeons also. So I have 2 surgeons who work with me. So they come, they assist. So they get a chance to see whatever, I mean, very difficult cases that we go and people are able to visualize. So that's something that we do.
great, doctor. So, which means also it is important to also see that how you need to educate these surgeons. So, is there a process in terms of educating them at the college level, doctor? Do you see that also as one of your
We
area of
need
interest so that
uh,
respondents can also be aware?
Shivu, actually, that job is done by our competitors, Shivu. I mean, so I should thank my competitors for doing a fantastic job of educating the doctors along. So, I mean, we don't do it. I mean, they go all out and educate them, which is good. So the doctor. So once they start educating it, then comes the question of where do you want to work. So when you search, then it's basically a doctor reference coming in. Uh, so we wait for it. We I see a big role in institutions knowing what, and the next generation of doctors knowing this technology, because you cannot avoid it for a long period of time. Either the surgeon and the HODs start upgrading themselves to use technology, know where it's used. I mean, see, companies can come and tell you 100 things. I mean, you can touch the sky, you can do all these things, but it's up to the surgeon and the head of the department and the team to realize actually what can be done, how are we going to do it in the process, and therefore choose the right company to work with. I'm not saying us, they can choose whoever they want to work with, but choose the right company to work with which has the experience of handling people and cases like that. So that experience will come only when they start doing good quality work.
So yeah, so doctor, very recently we've also seen there are very many institutes, even biomedical engineering colleges, uh, I mean, being one of the departments, have also now they're setting up these centers to educate their biomedical engineers because
Correct.
they need
Correct.
to be updated of the potential that it has to also work in conference, and they are looking at problem statements coming from the doctors and they
Correct.
are tying up with doctors and surgeons. So I see
Correct.
a very good consortium in terms of how all these can be knitted in terms of creating value. In fact, we ourselves as 3D Graphy has initiated a couple of tie-ups with institutes and seeing how doctors so I think the idea would be to also work with all the experts and experts like you, doctor. In fact, it's always a privilege to work with you also, and we've always had the opportunity to see that how this can be of greater value, so that everybody can cohesively understand, learn, and then probably function according to what is required based on the doctor's requirement. So
Sure.
that is what I was trying to touch upon.
No,
So
correct. I mean, because I think what you're doing is a fantastic job. I mean, right from the start, I mean, really saying that you're trying to bridge the gap and provide the sources and the resources for anybody who wants to connect. So a lot of see what we see realize is a lot of doctors, surgeons don't know where to approach. So I think you need to be that bridge where people can access you all, and then you in turn, based on whoever is on your board, connect them to the right people because that gives them a choice. Okay, because they can end up doing the wrong thing, they can end up messing themselves because we are not testing, we're not trying now. We are actually working on patients, and on patients' work, you cannot experiment. No, there's no second chance. You do it properly the first time. So, so I think fantastic job. I think you need to be a bit more aggressive now, Shibu, with respect to getting on board with the professional colleges, both engineering, medical, and biomedical, and getting them all on board so that everybody knows the technology. Because I think the application is phenomenal. Uh, with my limited knowledge, only know few applications. You know, like we see that in trauma, we see that in tumors, we see that in secondary corrections, and today in mucormycosis for the black fungus. But I think we have just touched the tip of the iceberg. I still feel we, as respect applications, we are only just about 5-10% of the applications we have touched. And the market strength of all companies put together, we have only touched about 15% of the market. There is still another most 80-85% that needs to be touched. People need to know about the technology and then use it. So that's where you play a very, very big role, and your company plays a big role of connecting and joining. So I do wish you all the best, and whatever support you want from companies like us and from surgeons like me, we are more than happy to help.
thank you so much, doctor. And I think really it really creates that kind of a confidence and motivation for all of us to then see how this technology can reach to the last mile in terms of the respondents who probably can benefit from this. So thank you so much for your time, and appreciate your
Pleasure.
time, doctor. In
Pleasure,
spite of
Shibu.
your busy schedules with the surgeries that you already from morning you that you are busy. Thank you so much, and we'll keep in touch. And also congratulations for your new initiative in terms of setting up the center going forward. So all the
Thank
very
you.
best, doctor. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank
Shibu.
you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.